Hello and welcome to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung Country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network.
Fierce FM on Spotify and YouTube.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Welcome to Fierce. Jason, your first time as a disc jockey.
I know. I actually hear you downstairs, but this time I'm actually on camera.
Yeah.
Wow. There's all the amazing people you get to interview all across the world.
I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and the land where you are listening. We have so much to learn from them. I also want to acknowledge the fairies and crones that came before us to fight for our human rights to love fiercely.
Yeah.
Detra, a provocative art rock power pop pair from New York City. At first, they seemed like an unlikely pairing with the androgyny of Richie B, the rock and roll guitarist and producer Peter Savard. But sexuality and self-worth through a gender-bending ethereal rock experience is the Detra doctrine. Jetador. So let's bring them in. Richie B and Peter Savard.
Circle up, 'cause now it's up in my head and my dream.
From New York City, we have Richie B and Peter Savard. These guys are in New York City in lockdown longer than us, but they're still feeling good. Is that right?
We're trying to feel good. It's definitely a little bit of a mind fuck, as you know. We're all in this together. But you have no choice. I feel like you have two choices, right? You can either let it like destroy you, or you're gonna try to use it to like better yourself in some sort of way. Although it is driving me fucking crazy and I am drinking alcohol, so there's that.
How is it
Driving me crazy? I am an extrovert. I'm always doing something. Having to be still isn't necessarily like hard for me at times, but doing it nonstop, I feel like I'm a fucking like silence retreat where like you can't talk to anyone. That's like what
You're
I feel
a monk?
like a little bit. I feel like I'm a monk a little, yeah.
There's good and bad to it, you know, like having time to kind of just like rest, and it's almost like a big vacation. You know, there are some benefits to it. Driving around, there's not much traffic. That's really nice.
So I'm lucky because I've got Jace here. So I'm in lockdown with this one.
I am not by myself. Actually, I'm going to show my roommates really quick. Yeah, I'm there. There's some bartenders over there. Yeah.
What's up, guys?
And then I actually have my boyfriend who's right over there drinking a beer, drinking a drink. Yeah.
You got the whole
Yeah, I got everything. So like I'm actually like okay. I guess I'm like I'm also dramatic, so there's that.
I'm going back and forth between home and my music studio, where else, you know, do all kinds of work there. So it's just back and forth, which isn't much different from what I used to do. So like Richie says, you know, he's always out. He's the extrovert. You know, my routine luckily hasn't changed that much. You know, recording projects and all that is on hold.
Well, I've been doing a bit of recording on Zoom and getting people to do their parts at home, and then we all cut it all together. Have you two been writing songs in lockdown?
No.
I definitely have been sending him a couple of things that I've been working on personally, and like we're not necessarily working on stuff that's super collaborative right now. We have a couple of things coming out, but we're trying to just figure out the right time to release that.
Right now it's, you know, seems to be just getting worse. So the last conversation was, well, maybe next week we'll talk and see how it goes, you know, but then we may just do a live stream show, just like everybody else. What else can you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here in the Northern Rivers, we've got like 40 people who have got the virus. Nobody's died.
That's it?
But we're in full lockdown, so you can't go out to the beach or be out driving unless you've got a reason.
Wait. I need to tell everyone. Australia has 40?
No, sorry, just in where I live in the Northern Rivers. In Sydney, it's worse.
Okay, where he lives in the Northern Rivers, it's only 40 people.
40
So you're in a safer area, obviously.
Yeah, we're in the hills.
Yeah, New York City is not, we are like the Petri dish right now.
Lucky, you'll probably have normal life for you come back very soon. But I know people are being positive here, but it's just like, we're hearing months, really, which is just nuts.
Well, we're hearing months as well. I hear you've got a hospital tent in Central Park.
Oh, yeah. Central Park, big clearing. They have a park in the park. They set up tents there. We have the two military ships in California and New York, the big boats to take care of people.
Which aren't taking people, apparently. They're just like stationed there right now, but as far as I know, they're
Don't
not
get me
taking
started
anyone
on the
yet.
conspiracies. Why there's nobody on those ships.
They're everywhere. Jace, this is his first time meeting you, whereas I know you guys from the past and research your music.
Yes.
Jason's never been to New York. I've been to New York twice. And you were talking earlier, Richie, about being an extrovert. Could you give us a bit of a flavour of your life a few months ago and what it's like now?
Being a New Yorker, there's so many different types of people. Obviously, like I have to work. Most New Yorkers do. Like living in a city and financially being able to support yourself is a real thing. It's not easy. But on my free time and things that I like to do is seeing live music, being with my friends. I work out. It's nothing super crazy. I'm also 30, so I've cooled down quite a bit, honestly. New York's fun though. I mean, there's always like something to do, anything you want. You've never been to New York. That's kind of crazy.
I would love to go though.
Okay, Pete. Hello, are you listening, Pete?
Yeah.
Your boyfriend is telling you he wants to go to New York. Maybe you should plan something.
Create it. Free accommodation, tickets to the show.
You let me know.
Our last show that got canceled
we'll go out.
is going to be rescheduled. It's as soon as possible. And, it'd be nice if you guys were around. That would be great.
Cool, yeah.
We were going to Cuba in November, but I don't think that's going to be possible now.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Oh my God, please don't tell me it's going to be going on in November. Like, what do you mean you don't think it's going to be possible in November? This better not be going on in November.
Do you think it won't? What's going to happen?
Can I tell you?
I think it will. Since you asked, I think it will. Richie, you can say what you think. I hope I'm wrong.
Wash your hands.
Oh yeah, I washed my hands 10 times already.
I mean, I'm pretty set on enjoying my summer, so I'm hoping it doesn't go on until November.
If we all create it, it will happen.
I can't stop thinking about like the fact that I might not be able to be enjoying the beach this summer. So if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be pissed the fuck off.
And so, Pete, you're a psychic.
I knew you were going to say that. No.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen anything? Have you got any insights?
Oh, you don't want me to open this can of worms right now. We'll have to do a whole other episode for this one.
Go ahead. Go into it a little bit.
I'm going to give you the light version. I did say towards the end of the year that I teach a class online, like trading. I do like day trading, and I teach people, which kind of just came about for fun, and it turned into sort of a side job. I was talking to them about, 2020 is not going to be normal. There's just no way that it will be. We just know it. Something's coming. The big election coming up and all the kind of turmoil politically that's already been going on here. Things might happen that may not be so much by accident. And so you talked about, like, did it come from the wet markets in China? Well, that's the official story. I can't prove that it did or didn't. Maybe it didn't. But it kind of does fit into what I sort of expected to happen anyway. So for it to just have come by chance, I mean, that's real psychic powers. I think it was more like logically, I know that we're kind of in for a storm for this year. Realistically, if it is really what it seems like it is, then I feel like it's going to be dragged out for a while, and people are going to be sort of strung along through the election. And that'll be a big deal if we don't have the election and all that. So I'm hoping that's all not going to happen, though. I think I can say this without anyone thinking I'm a nut. There are powers that be in the world that are not the ones out in front, and they're more behind the scenes. And they pull a lot of strings. So
they do.
This may not all be such an accident.
I could back that up also. I'm here with you on that.
There's a lot
They're
of,
not all the greatest. They're not the greatest people.
I've been in a bit of anxiety, and it feels like there's two options. It's either the dark Sith doing it all, or
Mhm.
it's Mother Earth doing it all. And
Yes.
And then the outcome, are the dark Sith going to win, or are the light beings going to win? You
The
know what
light
I mean?
beam.
Right. Now, okay,
Telling me
we're gonna get in.
Trust. People are telling me, just trust.
How about this one? There could be multiple outcomes, and it's up to you which one you experience.
Oh. Because we're
Because
Wow.
this is all a lucid dream that everyone's having. They don't have to have the same dream.
Exactly. We're a spirit in a human body, and we can create. If God is in everything, He's in us. And let's
Yeah.
create that love and that outcome.
Mhm. Agreed.
That's a
100%.
beautiful way of thinking. Absolutely. I'm here with that.
100%. And that's why people take me as being negative, but it's really, you guys get what I mean.
Hi, Naomi. What's up, cutie?
Lots of video conferencing with her friends, with no school.
I bet. We all know that.
It's rough.
Let me
We
find.
got to get outside. We got to go. We got to do more. We got to hurry this thing up.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you ready to watch your video clip
How awesome
again?
was that?
All right.
Yes.
Let's
Feeling
get better now.
How long since you've seen the clip?
I watch her shit often. So
Every day. All you do is watch yourself.
It's my first
no,
time. Beautiful. Loved
that's
it.
your first time?
Thank you.
you.
Feel
Thanks.
good, get pumping, friend.
Yeah. It's all about embracing who you are. So I'm glad you liked it.
Absolutely beautiful.
Shake that little ass, baby.
Is that all your real friends there in that clip?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I wanted it to be
Nobody
like
was hired.
a night with us out.
Yeah, it was a real live show that we did, and that was
Yeah.
the audience. Yeah, and then we hung out after at another bar, and we just videotaped everything, and that was the
I
video.
just got super bugged. Sorry, Naomi.
Oh, it's too late now.
Oh,
She's heard.
when we had our interview a year ago, we had just released Feeling Good music video, and it was premiered on Out Magazine. And then we released Jesse. Did you watch the music video?
Yeah. I watched it back then, a year ago.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Came out quite
Yeah.
several months ago.
Dude, I know. We released a single, Electrified. It's about
There's the
feeling
intro.
sexy.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So, Pete, how do you be sexy?
I give Richie the stage, and he does it. I just give him the set,
Shut the
the
fuck
audio
up.
stage instead of the visual. That's my job.
We were a little fucked up when we wrote that song, and it came out pretty organically. But the first song that we ever wrote together that was like very like, I'm feeling myself. Even though Feeling Good was that also, but Electrified was definitely like a more like sexual aspect to it.
It was a challenge because our first album was like more classic rock, and we were both agreeing that we want people to be able to dance and move to these songs in more of a traditional sort of dance beat. But I don't want to do a dance beat and just throw on some rock guitars. It's just it doesn't mesh that well. So that was a big challenge to get this song like right. And I feel like I did it. I'm satisfied when I hear it now.
Pete, you're older than 30 and you've got your family. Richie, you said you're 30 now, so you've slowed down. You got your boyfriend, you got your flatmates. What have you learned about what is sex?
I think in your 20s, it's very easy to say, I know who I am. At least for me personally, I always hung out with like a lot of like older people, and they would always be like, oh, you're so young. You have like blah, 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 blah. And so I feel like when you're younger and you're always hearing older people say that to you, you always are like defending the fact you're like, actually, I know who I am. I know who I am. So I spent a lot of my younger years being like, I know who I am. Like, I love myself, but I never actually believed it. And I said what I felt like I needed to say in order to like convince myself or try to convince myself that like I really loved myself. But turning 30 for me was like almost like a release in a weird way, even though I was really scared for that moment, because it is saying goodbye in a weird way to youth, even though obviously I know I'm still young. I'm not saying I'm old, but like it is saying goodbye to a chapter of your life, Like I really do love myself now. And I'm able to say that genuinely without just trying to say it to look like I'm okay. Like I actually feel like I'm
think
worthy.
maybe just the progression you had in the last couple of years of being comfortable with yourself in front of people and going to that next level in the live show that I knew that you were going to get to. I saw it before it happened. And I think that has to do with the confidence in yourself and everything that you kind of got over the last couple of years.
I mean,
me, take it or leave it.
listen,
And then
hello.
having people go, I'll take it.
That's our symbol on my chest.
Oh my God.
And that's
Ditra.
our logo.
That's Ditra right there on my chest. And it's on my heart for a reason, because I found myself through this project. So yes, for you to say that is completely accurate.
Yeah, that applies to me as far as, believe it or not, I've done so many music projects, but it wasn't until I worked with Richie that I had input to the point where co-writing, playing all the instruments on the recordings and being so involved like that too. It was a little safer to be in the background of the artist and just do certain things and not necessarily like write the song or not formal, but to have this whole responsibility and it just looked like a mountain and it was scary in the beginning for me to be able to do this and having people tell me, I love this, it sounds great. And this song made me cry. Putting ourselves out there and getting a good response was big.
And it's reprogramming your brain as well, you know, like we can reprogram that and that self-love and everything like that. And when you hear comments come back and it just puts that high and that self-love back into you.
Absolutely.
I know, Richie, that you've given some great quotes out there through the media, and one of them was something around, I realized I'm just going to be myself, and if anyone didn't like it, they don't have to be in my life.
Yeah. I think that in many ways, it's like you live your life for someone else. It's just a matter of embracing and realizing your purpose and who you actually genuinely are, being okay with it, and then distributing it in a weird way.
And that's the best for other people anyway. People pleasing is not going to actually work out for either party.
Absolutely not.
So do you, exactly.
Such a big year last year with your music and your exposure. And I really hope you start making some video clips for us to get us through our lockdown over here, pretty please.
Thank you. Yeah, I really want to. Even if it's just me and Richie live streaming something, I feel like we gotta do what we do, because that's what we do.
The politics over here at the moment and probably over there is about the arts don't matter, don't give them any funding. But hopefully people are realising that actually when you're in lockdown, we use the arts so much. Hopefully they'll remember our worth.
I like hearing that, because I've been complete. I don't know about Richie. I've been completely out of touch with any fans.
Yeah.
So if the listeners out there want to check out you more, get in contact and get your albums or whatever, where do they go?
If you Google our name, you'll get everything. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Facebook.
Ditra Official. DEITRE Official. Bitch, look it up. Respect the name.
And you can email us. We'll get back to you. I know. I feel better playing guitar, and you feel better singing.
Yeah, I think it's the.
Here we are
this
trying to
right
talk.
here, baby.
We're coming over. We want to be in the next clip.
I think you should do one today so I can put it in this show.
Okay, fuck it up. You should play Jesse and shit on here.
This is the video. It's just me doing this.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye,
you. You guys
guys.
are the
Thanks so
best.
much,
You guys are the
guys.
best. Thank you.
Sexy.
Anytime you want to talk.
Stay sexy.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Asleep on over you tonight. Round and round I go, I'll ride. I give you my heart, I give you everything that I have. 'Cause baby, I'm your man. You picked a winning hand. Oh, Jesse, don't you leave me. Oh, Jesse, don't you go. Oh, Jesse, saying I'll treat you good. hands. With leave and daddy, you decide. We got the salty, sweet, and sticky pick your eyes. You bring the bar and the ice. I'll bring the sugar and spice. No. Oh, Jessie, just look what you're doing to me. No, Jessie, just look what you're doing, baby. Oh, Jessie, you're making me eager to bliss. No, Jessie, if Jessie stays a night, treats him good. Jessie stays a night, treat him good. Oh, Jessie, come on, Jessie, baby, don't you go. No. Jessie, Jessie, baby, don't you.
Jenny Webber from the Bob Brown Foundation is with us. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on to Fears, this virtual rally for the Tassie forests.
The pandemic hit. We all had to go home to our home offices. We decided to organise a virtual rally, which we held with 2,500 people registered to join it, guest speakers and John Butler singing at the end of it.
In 2013, this agreement was made, and then 1 year later, the Liberals got in, and then suddenly it was no longer. How does the government work that they can do that?
We have to remember that while we live in a democracy, we also live in a country where we have very conservative governments, friends of the corporations, more than they're friends of the environment. But you're right, there was this effort from environment groups and the logging industry to get together, came to an arrangement which was called the Tasmanian Forest Agreement. Sadly, the industry received $420 million upfront to get out of forests, but those forests weren't protected. People around Australia thought there was peace in Tasmania's forests, and so they thought that a bunch of incredible areas were protected. The Liberal government came in, they were voted in, almost immediately. They arranged for the change of legislation, ripped up the Tasmanian Forest Agreement legislation, and they introduced a new one which allows for logging come April 8th, 2020. So that was back in 2014. 6 years later, if a company approaches the Tasmanian government and says, we want to log these forests because we don't have enough timber out of the other logging areas, then the government can just say, yep, no worries, we'll put that through Parliament. And they have the power in the Parliament to do that. We just need those forests immediately protected.
Did the forest companies that got paid out back in 2013 keep the money when they got their jobs again?
Absolutely. Everyone has kept the money. There hasn't been any money sent back.
It's corrupt. And I guess the poor Liberal government, they can't do anything else because they work for the corporations and that's how they fund themselves, isn't it? So they can't really not pander to the corporate interest.
Just an example of a company in Tasmania that is in cahoots with the Tasmanian government and allowed to log is Tartan. They're a company that are highly controversial. They received compensation of $20 million out of the Tasmanian Forest Agreement that is run by one of Malaysia's wealthiest people. They don't need Tasmania's taxpayers' money. They are currently saying that they won't take any of the timber from their future potential production forests. We also have Bunnings who have claimed that they won't take any of the timber. So we do have some companies who recognise that this timber is really high risk. But we do also have companies that are pretty hell-bent on being able to continue to log Tasmania's native forests.
What about the next generation? Do they not think about what they'll have left as resources?
I was just watching a really great documentary on the wild side. You can find it online. It was made by an animal rights activist and it's all about hunting and the atrocious practices of hunting wildlife. Australia has an important segment in there about the Victorian campaign to stop duck shooting. One of the points that people who work to defend wolves in Northern America was pointing out was that we should be operating according to a seventh generation mantra. 7 generations from now are going to be experiencing from our behaviour right now here on this planet. Definitely, we are not thinking about that if we're continuing to destroy ancient forests. People have to wake up and really think about what is my vote going to cost the generation 7 down from me. Realise that they will all need clean oceans, full of marine wildlife, clean air, these extraordinary forests keep the air clean, and we absolutely need to keep them intact so future generations can breathe and survive.
People are flooding the social media with photos and a sign saying "Save Tassie's Forests."
It's been a great little digital campaign. People are at home and physical distancing. It's really scary times for a lot of people. So we're thinking up new ways that people can campaign. We recorded the Zoom rally, and it's a great informative piece with Virginia Young, Bob Brown, Christine Milne, Peg Putt and Lisa Searle, and then John Butler at the end. And then there is the call to action. As you said, people have been great. They've gotten their signs, they've taken a selfie, and they've been able to put it online by poking the Premier. And Premier Gutwein down here in Tasmania needs to hear that people across Australia want those forests protected. They don't want them logged. And that's how people can help. So there's many ways on our website to get active. Going forward, we're just going to find more ways to engage people in the campaign to take action for Earth whilst at home.
Well, thank you so much, Jenny. We love you. We're so grateful for you and Bob and everyone and all you're doing. And we've got forests up here being logged in New South Wales. 82% of the New South Wales forests got burnt recently, and now the loggers are taking the unburnt wood away from the wildlife. And so we need your help up here too. Point us to the right direction about how to get organised.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi. And so absolutely, I just saw that the koala habitat, that was just something that was just so heartbreaking to everyone across Australia and across the world. And now they're back in their logging koala habitat. So absolutely, we are preparing a campaign to call for the protection of all native forests across Australia. Bob Brown has just drafted a poignant petition, get hundreds of thousands of people to hit up the Prime Minister, because we've all had enough, especially all of you folk up there in the Northern Rivers that just lived through those horrendous fires, and you know how important koalas are. So yep, we're in it to join you guys and get active on Australia's native forests, and let's get them protected once and for all.
What is Jenny?
Fierce.
We love you. Thank you.
See you, beautiful.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Lovely. This time last year we were on the convoy. I can't believe we're not there now. I miss it.
Thank you for listening to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung Country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network.
Fierce FM on Spotify and YouTube.